Thank you, and thank you for being here today. Minister, my first question is to you. Climate change and related energy policies are translating into high energy prices, hurting Australians, families, employers, our economy and future budgets. Previous climate change ministers attribute climate and related energy policies to CSIRO reports on climate. Is that the same for your government?
Well, I suppose I'd make a couple of points. Firstly, I don't say this to not answer the question, but it seems to me there's some other portfolio areas where those questions could be asked. The government takes into account a range of views from reputable national science organisations, including our own, the CSIRO, which has got deep credibility as an institution over many, many decades. It's been a core national institution for our economic, our science, our agricultural, our industrial progress for many, many decades, and I believe that it will continue to be, continue to play that role. The central pillar of the science around climate change is not credibly contested anywhere, and it's very clear to the government. We've just had a decade of failure on energy policy, where 4 gigawatts of power went out of the system and only 1 gigawatt went in. A sort of frozen, a previous government that was frozen in time and refused to engage with the challenge of climate and energy. I've listened to some debate today already, or questions from senators who are determined. So
you're confirming, Senator,
senators who are determined.
Your government is.
You've asked me a question. I'm going to answer.
You've given me the answer. You've given me the answer that CSIRO
a series of questions that demonstrate.
No, I only asked one question.
That some senators are determined to remain frozen in time.
You do. Freedom of information requests and parliamentary library searches show no members of parliament or ministers have been sent CSIRO reports with specific scientific data proving the need to cut carbon dioxide from human activity. On notice, please provide the reports from CSIRO on which you rely for your climate change policy and legislation, and specifically identify the specific location, being page numbers, of the logical scientific points proving that carbon dioxide from human activity needs to be cut. By logical scientific points, I mean the empirical data within a logical scientific framework proving carbon dioxide from human activity needs to be cut. People deserve to know the basis and justification for policy, and I need it to fulfil my responsibilities to our constituents. I just want to get that on notice. Thanks.
I'm sure that somebody, when they review that, will understand what it was that was taken on notice. Yes, I'm not sure that I do, but
yeah, I'm not surprised, given the policies. So my next question is for Dr. Marshall. You said in September that 40% of the technologies needed to get to net zero are yet to be invented. You described it as a monumental task. So can I just unpack that a little bit? Are you saying we can't achieve net zero with the current technology we have?
Senator, there's about a 40% gap out as we get towards 2040, according to our modelling. And that's consistent with the modelling of France, Germany, the United States, most other Western countries at least, where we're relying on negative emissions technology, things like CCSU, carbon sequestration, and other types of technologies.
So to go to your 40% that hasn't been invented yet, what is it that hasn't been invented?
Well, I think I just answered that, Senator.
So what specifically hasn't been invented?
The things I just listed, Senator.
The things you don't know that will be invented, okay. So 40% of what we need to get to net zero, literally in your opinion, as Chief Executive of CSIRO, hasn't been invented, yet the government has pledged to net zero. It sounds to me like we're jumping off a cliff and hoping we invent a parachute on the way down. What happens if we don't invent the 40% that isn't invented yet?
Senator, regardless...
Do we not meet the targets?
Senator, regardless, we know that reducing emissions is the absolutely necessary step to mitigate
I
the
disagree
impacts
with you,
of
but go ahead.
climate
You think
change.
that.
So even if we reduce the world's emissions, and it is the world's emissions, Senator, not just Australia's. Australia's actually in pretty good shape, actually.
We're a net carbon absorber, carbon dioxide
Because we
absorber.
because we have such amazing solar and wind assets and so much land.
Well, because
So-
we have huge areas of land and very few people.
Correct.
That's why.
So
And a massive ocean all around us.
So Senator, if the world's able to, and so far the world has failed to reduce emissions as a world, if the world is able to reduce 60%, that would be a phenomenal outcome for the future.
But 40% unknown. So let's have a look at your
So,
statement
Senator
today. Last
Roberts,
question.
please.
Senator, I wouldn't
Yeah,
say,
thank you.
Last
I wouldn't
question.
say unknown. I think I gave you the technologies that need to
Sure.
be
Well,
proven.
you haven't specified the technologies. You said today in your opening statement, you need a 50% cut, your words, Australia's hardest to abate industries like agriculture, steel and aviation by 50% by 2035.
That's our mission, Senator. We launched a national
Oh, okay,
mission
it's a mission.
to address
Thank
that
you.
issue.